Welcome. This is the first episode of this leadership conversation series of The Other Side of the Table with Sheeja Shaju. Well, that's humbly yours, me. I'm delighted that you have chosen to spend this next 1 hour with us. This leadership conversation series is actually a joint initiative between my company, that is iCreate Leadership Coaching and Training, and the Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth Center for Skill Development. Right now, I am sitting in their recording studio and recording this. So, our purpose as a joint initiative is very simple. Most of us actually spend our careers trying to become better leaders, right? But very few of us get to hear from people sitting on the other side of the table, the people who are actually making the decisions, building organization, and developing leaders. And that's exactly what this series is about. What we are endeavoring here is to bring together senior business leaders to share honest insights into leadership, career growth, decision making, and what happens behind those closed doors in organizations. So the intention is basically to help leaders like yourself who are aspiring to get to the next level constantly, and emerging leaders, right? Gain practical perspectives from those who are actually behind those leadership decisions every single day. Yeah. About myself, if I have to give you a quick, if you don't know me, if you haven't met me yet, I'm Sheeja Shaju. I'm an executive leadership coach and founder of iCreate Leadership Coaching and Training. Over the last 2 decades, I've had the privilege of coaching leaders across industries. And one question keeps showing up. And the question is, what are leaders really looking for? So instead of guessing, I thought, why not ask them directly and have them come and speak to you all about it? And there I have my very first guest on this podcast, on this leadership conversation series, Mr. Nimit Advani. It's just a pleasure to be hosting you, Nimit, and to be having you as the first guest on this podcast series. To give a
Likewise.
little introduction to Nimit. I mean, I could go on talking a lot. I've worked with Nimit for many years now. I've known him for like about 7, 8 years, I guess.
8 years.
And yeah, and I've had the privilege of knowing how his mind works, how he thinks. And he basically leads the service delivery function in India. He's a vice president at Resource Pro. He's based in Bangalore. Since he joined the organization in 2018, when the India office had about 200 employees, he has played a pivotal role in expanding the center to 6,000 employees. That is over the past 8 years now. So, with more than 20 years of experience in business process management, Nimit has spent half of his career in the insurance vertical. And he's worked with some really renowned names as a leader at IBM Global Services, Tata, Emphasis. And his expertise basically is in operations management and client relationships. And to add to all those feathers in his cap, he's an alumni from IIM Calcutta, right? So there he is, Nimit, extremely intelligent, a very down to earth and humble person, as much as I know. I really respect him for all of these things. And with that, we will be beginning the conversation right now. All right. So, the topic of our conversation, as we all know, is what do promotions really look like? Really, what happens behind the closed doors when these leaders are making those decisions? So, Nimit and me are going to have a conversation with in front of you all. I would invite you all to have questions as soon as they come in. Please make a note, and by the end of it, I'm going to give 10 minutes where I want you to chat on the type. You can type the questions that time so that we don't get distracted throughout this. So that's going to be about 40-minute conversation with Nimit right now. All right. And yeah, it would be really lovely if Nimit asks a question to you all to really respond back. And y'all can always have the emoticons, with the thumbs up or a clap or whatever comes up to you. It'll just add on to the excitement of the conversation. All right. But yeah, here goes. So Nimit, let's go for it.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. So, my first question to you, what's the one reason a high performing employee doesn't get promoted, even when everyone assumes they will?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So, in my opinion, an employee may be high performing in the current role. And what we are looking for is an employee for the next role, which
Right.
is a promotion role, right? Now, the employee may have the skills, the knowledge, and the competencies for the current role and doing really well there. So, as an employee, the employee has a point of view saying that, hey, I'm great, I'm doing well here, so I should get promoted. That's an expectation that anybody would build, including myself. And when you look at it from the other side, what we are looking for is not just the person performing high in the current role,
Right.
but a potential of the person to be able to perform in the next role.
Mm.
Now, is it easy? It brings in a lot of bias as well. When you are trying to evaluate someone for the next role, there's a lot of bias that plays in your mind as well because you're familiar with that employee as well. But if you look at it from the perspective of the person who's going to promote them, they are looking at the potential.
Mm.
And what I see is that's the gap. The person is performing well, looking at saying that, hey, I'm doing great and I need to be at the next level. I'm ready. And the person who's trying to promote is looking from here saying that, is the person ready to perform this role? They're really good here, but are they ready here? So there's this gap, which I think is what most of us miss. And I think the key there is for employee to take an honest look, saying that what the next role is.
Mm.
What are the skills and competencies that are required for that role? And I think that the other mistake that all of us make, including myself, is we go with assumptions saying that I know what is the expectation for the next role. What would be great here is having a conversation with someone who is performing that role,
Mm.
getting a point of view from their perspective to understand what is the expectation of that role. And I'll give you a pitfall as well. There is going to be a high probability that you're not going to understand this only from one conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You have a conversation, you understand the expectation, you go back and have a conversation saying, okay, I get what the expectations are, but here are my questions. It's critical that it's a conversation and not a monologue. You are not expecting the person to give you a formula because I think that's a pitfall as well. You
Mm-hmm.
think that there is a formula, right? There's no formula. Every organization has a different requirement. Every organization has a different criteria for a person to fit in a particular role, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll give an example.
Sure.
Now I'm working as a vice president, taking care of 6,000 people here. I know of leaders who are called vice presidents, but taking care of 100,000 employees across the globe.
Yeah.
Now, somebody looking at the designation might say, they both were vice president. It's the role that you perform is very, very different. And the expectation changes based on the role. So I would say practical tips, have a conversation with people who are performing that role. Not one. If you can find more than one, have multiple conversations. Go back and see very, very honestly, brutally. You don't have to share this with anyone, but take a look saying that this is the expectation from the role and where do I stand?
Got it.
Identify that gap. Have conversations saying with those same individuals saying that I did an analysis. And the moment you start to do this, you will see a lot of avenues opening for yourself. You will
Got it.
start to view yourself from a different lens and would be in a position to have a complete understanding of what is required from that role. And believe me, if you just do this exercise,
Mm-hmm.
that insight itself will move you in the right direction of meeting the expectations, and you will show up that as that individual for the people who are looking at promoting the right candidate.
Got it. Got it. So you're what I'm understanding is have a conversation with people, have multiple conversations it's required with people and level. That's one thing that I took. And the other you're saying is not necessarily that VP designation is going to be, you know, the same kind of a role or whatever designation. It's not necessarily going to be the same kind of role. Depending on your organization, depending on the industry, it changes. That's what I got.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Right, right. So from that perspective, if like what are if you had to tell, like this is something that we assume and let's just finish that tick mark of their assumption, right?
Okay.
When next role when we're looking at what are you looking at? We're not talking I'm not talking from director to VP or senior manager to sorry, to VP or director, right? I'm just talking what are you looking at next level? We'll just everyone assumes it. We'll just tick mark that.
Okay. Okay. Great. Now, what we look at is we look at people with the ability to have high degree of ownership and accountability,
Mm, mm,
right? And I'll just spend a little bit on this one. You know, think from a perspective of your supervisor or the person who's going to promote you.
mm.
He or she is looking for an individual who is going to resolve their problems and probably make life easy for them.
Right.
So they need someone who is going to be coming forth, taking ownership, taking accountability, and shouldering more responsibilities. That's the key. You do not want people who are going to be asking you multiple questions at multiple jobs. Of course, asking questions is great. But if they're coming to you all the time asking you, what should I do next? You've got that
Right.
wrong. You need someone who's got the ability to take the ownership, think like a leader, and
Mm,
not only come to you with problems, but come to you with possible solutions for those problems.
mm,
Right? So you're looking for someone who's going to solve your problems.
mm. Brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah. So these are three major tick marks that you all will be looking for when you want to promote anybody.
Yeah.
All
And,
right.
and I'll tell you another thing. We are not looking for people who are 100% ready.
Mm,
You're
big
looking,
point.
yeah, you're looking for people who are there maybe about 60, 70. And again, I'm putting a percentage there. This could be
Mm,
even 50% from a person's perspective who's trying to see. But if you really tick mark saying that a high on ownership, high on accountability, somebody who's going to solve your problems, somebody who's going to make life easy for you,
mm,
these if you have these qualities, and these qualities are subjective,
correct.
right? It will depend on person to person. That's an organization to organization. That's why it's key for you to understand what the expectation of the organization is. That's like half the battle won.
Correct. Brilliant. So when these people will go ahead and talk to the people at the next level and ask them questions about what is expected from the next level, this is, they need to find out actually what is it the organization expecting from them, and so they can start developing on all of these things, right?
Absolutely. And the reason I said multiple conversations is do not expect that people are going to give you a formula or step by step to say do one, two, three, four, five, and I will promote you.
Got it.
People, if you look at organizations as well, right? When you look at the mission and vision statements of organization, they say, I want to be the best in the industry,
Mm,
right? Now you got to decode what does that mean. So when you are having a conversation, it's probably going to start with a very subjective statement. Like I said, ownership,
mm,
accountability. What does ownership mean? What does accountability mean? You will have to go back and decode that and come up with actions, which is going to portray that you are someone who's high on accountability. You are high on ownership. You are willing to solve problems. You are willing to shoulder more responsibilities.
mm,
And that's going to be the key, that you just don't walk away with these statements, decode them, and make a plan which is going to be what actions can I take that I come across as someone who has high degree of ownership, accountability, ready to solve problems, and shoulder more responsibilities.
Right, right. So it's like before that, long before the promotion conversation that happens in the room amongst the leaders, I should be working on it and strategizing and showing you the results so that I'm automatically walking towards that conversation which you guys are having in the room.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Okay, so thank you for. So let me get to the next question there, right? Have you ever promoted someone who wasn't the strongest performer? And what made you choose them?
That's a great question. Yeah, I have. Yeah.
All right.
So I'll tell you what. I mean, just having a designation, a role, and leadership role does not mean that you're not going to make mistakes. Does not
Mm,
mean that you're not going to fail. Oh, absolutely. I think failure, in fact, is the most critical aspect of any role that you perform.
mm-hmm,
The challenge, and based on whatever I know of the industry, right, and my experience, what I've seen is people shy away
mm,
from owning up their failure. And I'm telling you that I have learned that that's the biggest power that you can have,
mm,
to own up your mistakes. So I will not say I haven't. I have,
mm,
right? And what I've done is I have promoted someone who wasn't the strong performer, right?
mm,
But when I took a look at it, I said the person is not a strong performer at the current role,
mm,
right? And I'm a human at the end of the day, and I'm
mm,
going to have biases as well. Can I take a different perspective and a different look at this individual and forget about how this individual is performing,
mm,
right? And can I look at only the potential that the person has from the next role perspective?
mm,
The other thing what I do is I compare this with recruiting someone from the market, and then comparing them and saying, okay, if I go and recruit someone, what are my
mm,
options? I'm gonna probably have an hour-long interview.
mm,
At the most, I will do some kind of a simulation, and then we do that. We do some kind of simulations, case studies, ask them questions, a role play for them to exhibit certain behaviors in a span of time. And that span of time could probably be a day, 2 days, max to max, right? They come, have a conversation, showcase their competencies, their skills, their knowledge, right? And versus an individual who I see day in, day out.
mm,
Right? So, as a leader, it is a very, very important point for me to take out the biases. And if you are thinking that just because you are a leader, you will not have biases, you are actually fooling yourself. We all are human beings, and we will always have our biases. We will have our favorites. We will have things that we don't like. It is very, very critical for us to keep our biases aside. So what I do is I've developed a framework. I say I'm in a dilemma. The
mm,
guy is not that strong performer in his current role,
mm,
and I have a role which is open up here, and I think that the guy has a potential, but I'm still not sure because he's not performing good right
mm,
now in his current role. So what do I
mm,
do? How do I how do I make my decision? I do not have enough information.
mm,
So I have a framework where I have conversations with these people. I assign them projects. I don't
mm,
tell them that I'm doing all this. I just tell them, okay, I have a task for you, and I want you to do this for me, and these are my expectations from this task. And they don't know what I'm assessing them on, but I'm assessing them on the skills and the knowledge and the competencies that are required for the next role.
mm,
And again, what I've seen is there are times that there have been people who've been successful. There are times where people haven't been successful. But when I look at it from my perspective,
mm.
I have clarity.
Got it.
I have clarity saying that, okay, I'm sort of betting on this individual based on more whatever I've learned. And If the individual is successful, I am successful. If the
Brilliant.
individual isn't successful, there is feedback for the individual to learn and move ahead.
Hmm, interesting. I'm going to just put it on the gallery view right now and just ask the audience, not necessary to answer, but guys, are you all with us? Just give a thumbs up or whatever the emote icon you want. Are you all with us? Is it going fine at your pace right now? Just put it on the chat. How are you feeling? Something you put it on the chat that, yeah, I'm with you, I'm enjoying it. And start putting your questions out there, right? In case it's coming up. I mean, you can keep it to yourself, rather, sorry. Give me the questions right at the end, but keep making a note of your questions if it's coming up. Yeah.
And
Brilliant.
Sheeja,
Okay.
if I can add something more
Absolutely.
there, you know,
Absolutely.
this is another human being, according to me, human being pitfall.
Uh-huh.
The the I wouldn't say a need, but it's a human flaw
Okay.
of being complicit. And this is
Complex.
not, yeah. So if you give me a choice, I
Mm.
wouldn't want to do anything.
Mm.
I would love to be complicit all my life, have fun,
Mm.
right? And
Mm.
this is not just, only leaders in corporate world, but this happens with athletes as well. I mean, I've heard Ronaldo. I'm a big fan of Ronaldo.
Mm.
FIFA season, let me give his example. He
Mm.
says, I will give you the blueprint. You want to be a Ronaldo? I'll give you the blueprint. But the problem is not the blueprint,
Mm.
it's what you do with it. And when you're performing a role, if you're performing it well, you are like, okay, I'm here, I've arrived. And that's a biggest pitfall. So this is the practice that I do it, and I perform every time, whatever level I've reached, wherever
Mm.
I've reached.
Mm.
I always question myself, what next? What is it that you can improve on? So always be in that question, what next?
Beautiful.
There has to be always something that you can work on. It has to be always something that you can.
Brilliant. Brilliant. That is a very, very important point. I'm particularly like intrigued a little bit. If you can, like 1 or 2 minutes, if we can spend, I've got so many questions to ask you, but the points that you're bringing up here, I am getting diverted a bit. But that's an important thing. Complacency, what you said. So,
Yeah.
we as human beings we like to be in our comfort zone, as Dhruva has also mentioned out there, right? We like to be in our comfort zones, and when I'm in my comfort zone, I feel that, okay, right now things are going fine. Let me just be where I am, right? And then the complacency comes in. But then there is also then this need that, hey, I want to grow also. Then when that doesn't happen, I start pointing fingers. The industry is this, the leader is this, the work is only like this. What can I do? Right? Is that what you're talking about?
I asked this question, and I asked this question to my team as well, right? I asked them this question, why are you working?
Yeah.
Yeah, what is your goal? What is your objective?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you working? Why are you working with this organization?
Mm-hmm.
There are multiple organizations out there. And I also asked this question. A lot of times, people shy away from sharing this. I have no shame in sharing this, which is we all work for money,
Yeah.
right? Right. And I ask these questions, and sometimes people find it difficult to answer is, okay, let's say I give you a promotion and I reduce your salary by 10-20%.
Mm.
Are you okay with that promotion?
Mm.
Right? And
Mm.
the idea of asking these questions is to for people to kind of look at why they are complex,
Mm.
right? I also ask them another question. Let's say I give you the other side, which is I give you 100,000 crores right now. Will you still work? Will you still gun for that promotion? Right? Now, these are uncomfortable questions. And I'm saying that everybody by default will get comfortable, want to get comfortable.
Mm.
And it's up to us to break that by asking these difficult questions.
Got it.
Speaking to people who are going to keep us honest, speaking to people, having conversations with people who will challenge us.
Mm. Got it. Okay, brilliant. That was great. I'm going to move to the next question, Nimit. Right. So, what was the biggest challenge you faced in your career around promotion, and how did you navigate it?
Uh, my biggest challenge, and I did face a lot of challenges. My biggest challenge was to showcase my skills.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and I mean, I really, when I started my career, right, I started from the ground level up. So I was an individual contributor, and when you're an individual contributor, and I share it with my team, that things are pretty black and white. You really
Mm,
know, you follow a set of instructions, right, and you will get the results that the organization expect, that you expect from yourself, and you can be a high performing individual pretty easily, right? But when it comes to leadership, you're not only responsible for your performance, you are responsible for all the people who report to you.
got it.
And not only just their performance, you're responsible for their success, you're responsible for their failure, right? So it gives, I mean, I draw something like this. I don't have a board right now, but I would draw something like this and I ask people a question, what do you see here?
Mm,
And people have answers. Okay, I see a cloud, I see an amoeba, so on and so forth. People come up with, and I said, this is exactly what we're dealing with in leadership role. In
mm,
individual contributor, pretty straightforward, black and white, right? You follow the steps, you get the results. It's like a formula.
right.
But what I draw there, I tell people in my view is ambiguity. Every individual is different.
Correct.
Every organization is different. And your environment keeps changing day on day. In fact, we are in a space where the environment keeps changing day on day.
Right.
Now, that's the difference that I bring in, and that's what I struggle with, and that's what I learned over a period of time. When I was
Mm,
an individual contributor, it was easy for me to be successful. I hit to a place where I would say, hey, I'm a great performer. Why am I not getting promoted? And
mm,
I got into that space saying, okay, my boss doesn't like me. The organization is difficult, so on and so forth. I had my reasons. And then I realized that I was missing out on putting my skills out there, my competencies out there, my potential out there for people to see. And this is
mm,
where visibility comes in play,
mm,
right? So capability is the foundation. Visibility is what you got to learn, and it's an art. It's
mm,
an art. You learn over a period of time how to make sure that you are visible. And it's a catch 22 sometimes. Let's say if you're a group of people, you have your peers as well. And if your boss says, hey, I have a task, who's going to take on? Now, out of 10 people, if you're the one putting up your hand, your boss may like you. But the moment you walk out of the meeting, your peers are going to say, oh, yeah, you're like, trying to be the blue-eyed boy for your
mm,
boss, right?
mm,
So you're dealing with that with people,
mm,
right? You don't want to look bad in front of your peers. Don't want to look like someone who's stealing everybody else's opportunities because everybody wants to grow,
mm,
right? And at the same time, you want to actually take on that opportunity and showcase your skills.
mm.
So that is the critical aspect that I've learned. I may do great amount of work, but I have to learn to be able to showcase my potential, and I have to do it in a fashion that I do not come across as brash. I
Yeah.
do not come across as someone who's bragging and is really willing to shoulder more responsibilities. So it's a
Yeah.
fine balance that you got to create there, and make sure that you are looked at someone who's willing to take ownership and responsibility, and not someone who is just trying to brag and show off.
Mm,
So I struggle a lot with that. And over a period of time, I realized that I don't have to speak in all the meetings,
mm,
It's not speaking, it's the value that you bring in on those meetings. It's the
Mm,
value that you bring in on those interactions. And believe me, I mean, I've heard, Steve Jobs, he's made and broken careers in a 2-minute elevator conversations.
correct.
So
Yeah.
the key that I realized was that I have to work on myself and be ready for the opportunity. And I don't know when the opportunity is going to knock my door.
Right. Right.
And there is a possibility, because if you look at the leaders up there, they don't have time, right? And I'll give you a brutal truth here, right? You may not like it. Nobody's interested in your growth and your promotion. You got to make sure that whatever time that you get with these individuals in that limited time, whether it is 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 hour, that conversation has to be of a level where that individual walks away with knowing your potential, your capabilities, and skills to a certain degree, saying that, okay, I see a lot of potential in this individual. I can count on this individual.
Beautiful. Wow, that statement hit hard actually, Nimit. That nobody's interested in your promotion. Wow. All right. I was like, really? Wow. Okay. And then, so what I'm getting from this is, yeah, you got to have like an elevator pitch ready, what they call
Yeah,
elevator pitch. Keep that thing always ready with you. While you're working, while you're in action, while you are, doing, and I also love what you said, visibility is an art. Becoming
yes.
visible is an art. So working at that, like I'm actually running a program called Become Promotable, like for these students are there, Promotable Leader Masterclass series. In that, we speak a lot about visibility. So, but yeah, it's an art which we keep going on, keep at it. And so, visibility is important. What I got from your last conversation, visibility is important. It's an art. You got to keep working at it. B, keep in action, keep doing whatever it is before the promotion conversation is going to happen there. Three, elevator pitch is very, very important. So when we say elevator pitch, not necessarily a 15-second one, but at least have those bullet points ready as to this is what you are doing and this is what it is. So the focus keeps going on that and constantly you're taking actions in that. Am I right? Did I get it
Absolutely.
right? Yeah,
Oh,
beautiful.
absolutely. Because look at it from a leader's perspective, they don't have time.
Right.
And when they meet you for whatever amount of time, they're always thinking business. They're
Correct.
always thinking, how do I grow the organization? How do I make it better? And when you talk about how you've contributed and what you can bring on the table,
Mm,
that's it. Half a battle won.
brilliant. Okay, thank you. I'm going to take you to the next one, right? What's the fastest way for someone to remove themselves from promotion consideration?
This is a tough one. There are actually a lot of ways, but I would say the fastest way that I have seen in my experience is being close to feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Mm.
and 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 believe me, you're dealing with people. When you're dealing with people, and that's what I'm going to do after this session, Sheila.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you feedback about how did I do it,
Right. Yeah.
right? And I'm saying that you should be open to feedback from all the people,
Mm.
360 degrees.
Yeah.
The day you give someone a perception that you are close to feedback, you close the doors.
Got it.
I have seen people even write off good potential people just because they are not open to feedback. And
Mm.
I think what I've learned there is you always take a view that I am work in progress.
Mm.
When you take that outlook that I am work in progress, there is still for me to learn, a
Mm.
learning mindset. You are always going to be open to feedback. And I'll share a very good example that happened with me in life. So I joined an organization initially, and the culture of the organization was, not a lot of aggression and things of that sort. And when I came from outside, I came from a culture that, you got to be in action. It's results what matters. People don't matter, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, go all out, right? newly joined the organization, going all out. And I got feedback
Yeah.
saying that, hey, you're coming across a little aggressive. People are not liking it, right? And usually when you get this kind of feedback, people don't share who's telling you this or who's telling
Mm,
them this.
right.
And this was tough for me. I was like, okay, now I gotta improve, but I don't know. I mean, for lack of a better word, I don't know the enemy that I'm fighting. I don't
Right.
know who's giving this feedback.
Mm,
Somebody at the top said, hey, the feedback is people see you as aggressive.
mm,
So how do I deal with this? What do I do? And I said, okay, what I'm going to do is at this point of time, I made a list of all the people I interact with right from the time that I joined the organization up till now. I came up a list of 30 people,
okay.
right? I said, okay, so what am I going to do? How do I how do I know that what do they think about me and how do I change that? I prepared a list of questions, simple, five to six questions,
Mm,
right? And the questions are pretty simple. Uh, you know, what is if you ask open-ended questions, people are not going to speak. So I started with closed-ended questions, right? How, do you see I'm adding value to the role that I'm performing,
mm,
right? What do you think that I need to work on? And I want at least two areas of improvement because
mm.
people really are not very open to sharing feedback. Sharing feedback is also not easy. Giving feedback to someone is not easy. So I said,
I know.
I want at least two things that I should improve on, right? So on and so forth. I prepared those questions. I prepared a schedule, sent one-on-one meetings to all of these 30 individuals. It took time,
Mm,
but this was about my image. It was about how people saw me. If I did
mm.
not change how people saw me, then I had no way of succeeding in this organization. I had to
Brilliant.
get that out of the way, whether
Brilliant.
it was perception or not. From my perspective, it was perception. I was thinking in my head, hey, I'm doing this to achieve the results for the organization,
Mm,
right? But I said, okay, but they are perceiving you somewhere. How do I know that? I had conversations with these 30 people and I made notes. And what I did was after every meeting, I had put, you know, kind of buffered time in there, 10 to 15 minutes, where I would make the notes and send an email to all of these 30 individuals saying that this is what I took away from the feedback and thank you for your time. It is really valuable. I will work on this
amazing.
and I will come back with an update and a meeting with you again. And right at that moment, I would schedule a follow-up meeting. So
Brilliant.
these people now know that, okay, he may have started aggressive. They already started to see, but I'm open to feedback. I'm open to listening. And I'm also taking action to close the loop.
Got it.
I met them the second time. Out of 30 people, at least about 25 people said we have nothing more to say. Great. I said, do you see a need for us to meet again? Because I would like to meet again if there is something to see how am I doing.
Mm,
25 people said no need.
mm,
We great. If there is something, now I opened up a space for them. If there is something, we will reach out to you. So now they're not going to go to my boss or to gossip with someone else. They're going
mm.
to come to me.
What a brilliant point.
Yeah. And eventually I I had a great relationship. Then I went to my boss and I said, okay, I've taken this action. Now I want you to check and let me know how I'm doing. And
And
guess what? The feedback was, hey, I'm not hearing anything. You're doing
mm,
great.
brilliant. When was this, like, if I may ask?
This was about 8 to 10 years back.
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah. So you had multiple level of people. So these 30 people, they were under you. So these 30 people
No,
were
not necessarily. They were from other departments as well.
okay, not necessarily your own teams. Okay,
No, it was not my team only. It was other people as well from other
and
departments.
different levels also.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
see, I was new to the organization. So what I
Mm,
realized was, And that's why I give a lot of importance to feedback.
Mm,
Very, very critical. And what example I shared with you is getting feedback from 360 degrees. You can learn from anyone and everyone.
mm,
I mean, you look at Howard. Howard is learning from our Dabbawalas in
correct.
Maharashtra,
Correct.
right?
Yeah,
Howard is
Mumbai.
amazed that how are they able to manage a complicated system like that without having a system in place.
And make it look so easy, so
Yeah,
seamless.
yeah,
Yeah, brilliant. All right, so that was great. We have 5 more minutes left, so I'm going to ask you some questions where we'll have quick answers then for that, right?
sure.
So things like, in all your years, have you seen unfair practices in promotions? And anything that you want to say? Quick
I
answers
would,
if you can.
yeah, yes, yes. But I think unfair is a point of view.
Mm,
For example, I was watching something this morning and by Mel Robbins. I don't know if you guys know Mel Robbins, but
of course.
yeah. So she said, life is unfair. Life
Mm,
is unfair.
mm,
So, I don't expect the world to really, like I said, they're not going to bother about your promotion. So, yeah, there are unfair practices and you got to
mm,
deal with it.
mm. Okay. All right. So that happens, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Tell
yeah.
me, have you had any managers coming up? Like, you are the VP, you are directors and managers. Have you had any directors, VPs who are under you coming and fighting with you? Hey, why did my person not get promoted? Do they
Oh,
come?
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
it happens a lot of time. And I
Yeah.
think, yeah, what I adopt there is simple. I tell them why, and either they convince me saying that, okay, I did not put my points across in the right way, and these are the things that the person has done.
Mm,
Or I convince them where they
mm,
walk back with the feedback saying that, okay, I see your point. What are you looking for? And I'm going to
mm,
work with this individual to achieve that.
mm. Brilliant. And then when they come and fight with you for that, but their person, fight is a strong word, but
Yeah.
obviously they come and fight. What do you think about them?
Uh, I try not to have my bias in there. Of course, it's very natural for immediately a bias coming in saying that this person doesn't understand my expectation. But I want to fight my biases rather than judging the person. And honestly, I'll tell you what, Sheeja, I believe that a little bit of conflict is really good.
Yeah.
I like that passion that people bring in. When
Mm,
there is conflict, there is passion that people are bringing in, and they're bringing in the passion for the organization.
mm,
So
correct. So you
I would
actually
love.
enjoy it.
Oh, I love people coming and having a debate with me and arguing with me, saying why not like this and why not like that. I'm like, oh, great, we are thinking now. We're using our
Yes.
gray cells.
Yeah. Now the work begins then.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliant. I'm glad if your team has joined in here, I mean, one I know, but others, they are coming to know some real insights about how they should work with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Ashish is smiling there. Okay. One more question I'll have, and then we'll hand over to the audience for some questions. Please, someone has put in a question. If you have more questions, please put in. I'll have to just choose between one or two, depending on the answers. Well, my question to you, Nimit, one last question is, what do you think are the adverse effects? Okay, no, that wouldn't connect. Okay, let me ask you another one. Have you regretted promoting anybody? And what did you miss there?
I have. I have regretted promoting some of the people as well.
Yeah.
And I look at it as a learning. Like I said
Mm,
in the beginning, right? I- I'm not averse to making mistakes. I will make mistakes, right? So you should have realistic expectation and you will make mistakes. But I try to learn from that experience. What did I miss? What could I have done differently to make sure that I promote the right individual? Right. And it is got to be the learning process. You are never going to be perfect. In fact, I have a definition of perfection, which I'm not going to share here with everyone. Uh,
then, yeah.
but it's going to digress from the topic and it might come across as a little bit philosophical. But I think, yeah, I have made mistakes and I wouldn't shy away from owning them up. But that's an opportunity for me to learn.
Mm,
And the other thing what I do, Sheeja, is then I correct my mistake.
got it.
So I get into the mode of sharing feedback, right? Owning up a mistake and sharing feedback, saying, hey, these are the things which are missing.
Mm,
And whether I like it or not, I have to deal with it. So I either make sure that the individual reaches up to that expectation and the level that we expect them to perform on,
mm.
or then, we kind of sometimes even part ways.
Okay, that's interesting. Thank you. I have one question that has come up here. I'll request you to take that on. I'm going to read it out for you. And then if you have time, I have so many more questions I will want you to answer. But let's see,
Sure.
I don't think we have time. But let me see this. The question is from Johnson. He says, it's often observed that even when someone has the right skills and mindset for a leadership role, they may be intentionally kept out of the decisions, right? Kept out of key opportunities or discussions so that others can highlight their own capabilities to leaders and decision makers. Does that happen? How can someone effectively navigate such a situation? Is what he's asking.
Oh, that's a great question. And Johnson, in a way, I did face this, I would say about 15 years back or so, 15 to roughly 15 to 18 years back. There is a high possibility, and there could be many reasons for doing this.
Hmm.
There may not only be one reason, which is usually we think is people don't like us or people don't see our skills, right? And instead of let me make it real for you, right? And what to do, I will probably come out of this conversation. So I was working with this organization and I was doing really well for myself, right? I was, in fact, chosen by my boss to be part of a very critical project. And the project really took off well. It was doing well. And I was due for a promotion for a manager level. And the solution was I was not getting promoted. So I went and had a conversation with my manager and made sure that there was a space of openness. So I started with saying, can you tell me what are the things which I'm lacking that you would like me to work on so that I can be eligible for the promotion? You know what my manager said? She said, it's not that there is anything lacking in it. If it was up to me, I would have promoted you right now. The problem is the organization does not have a budget for that role, right? So that role has to be created. And unfortunately, we are not in the position to create that role because it will require a certain amount of budget and justification to people higher up. And we are not in that space, not in that environment that your project is doing well, but the other projects are probably not doing well.
Hmm.
So then she asked me for some time. She said, okay, give me this much time to work on. I said, fair enough. I walked out of that meeting saying, okay, fair enough. It's a reasonable reason, right? So there's nothing wrong with you. I keep doing what I'm doing and allow my manager to work on this. And that time ended. I went back. I said, okay, what's the status? And my manager said, unfortunately, not still not done. Need more time. Now that's where I gathered courage and I spoke to her and I said, I'm going to be very candid, right? You say I have the capability and I have the talent and the skill and the competencies. So I'm going to go with that. So what am I going to do here is I'm going to look out for another opportunity. And here is what is my promise to you. I'm going to look at only three things. One, if I'm getting a role that is higher than the role that I'm performing right now. That is number one criteria. Number two, I'm getting more money than I'm drawing right now here with that higher role. Number three, it's not an organization which is lower than this, but an organization which is better than this and doing well. If these three criteria are met, then I will take that job and I would expect you to understand that where I'm coming from. If these three criteria are not met, then I won't take that.
Mm.
And this candidness really improved our relationship because it brought in fairness. But it required for me to have that candid conversation saying that what is lacking to begin with. And if
Mm,
there is nothing lacking, then let's have a deal because I have to look out for my career, and I understand organization goals as well. So, Johnson, sometimes there are going to be times that you will have to move, but you move for the right reasons. Since then, I've made these three criterias as part of my deal whenever I have to move from one organization to another organization. If these three criteria are not fulfilled, I do not move.
brilliant. Thank you. I think we have like time for just exactly one question or two in case it's a short answer. But Menak Goswami has asked this question. In organizations, if employees' way of thinking are different, but goal is single, right? So, as a single employee, how will I implement my thinking for achieving that single goal?
All right. Now, if you're talking about two different people at the same level, the answer is going to be different. And if you're talking about your boss and your thinking, then the
Mm,
answer is going to be very different,
mm,
right? So, and again, this will depend on what when you talk about thinking, are you talking about values or
mm,
just thinking, right? And I'll try to make it as short as possible, Sheeja. I'll try to do justice to this. If it's your peers you're talking about from a thinking perspective,
mm,
you also need to bring in a little bit of openness and understand and look at always, not just peers. I'm telling you, this will help you in your life as well.
mm,
As many people are there, my perspective, there are as many point of views.
mm,
What matters is what gets you faster to your goal. And taking back to my example, I said I joined an organization where my outlook was aggressive,
mm,
that results are important, action is important. Whereas the organization's culture was no, people first, then results, and then actions. Of course, we have to achieve results and actions. So there was a difference in opinion, difference in thought process. I have to align with the values of the organization. Organizations is nothing but a bunch of people. It's not the offices that we go to or the four walls that we have in the office. It's a bunch of people. So I have to align. And if I don't align, you may not like this answer. I find an organization where my values are aligned.
got it. Got it. Yeah, there was a corporate training that I was taking last just few months ago, and there was this leader who literally went to her boss saying, "I'm quitting right now because my values are not connecting with what the team's culture, it not even the organization, just the team's culture." And she's a senior leader, right? And then when she had multiple conversations with the manager and things opened up for feedback, I mean, I think I'm just connecting with all what you've said. Things opened up for feedback, and then she had conversations. The manager was very important in having conversations with the team and her. The culture in the team started changing, and then she still stayed in that organization. So,
Yeah.
so perfectly what you've just
I
said.
would quote Mahatma Gandhi here. Be the
Mm-hmm.
change that you want to see in
Mm,
others.
mm. Very important. Very good. All right. So there's another question here. Kaushik is asking, what leadership qualities do you believe are most often overlooked by people aiming for the next level? Well, I'm assuming people means he's talking about me wanting to look at a promotion, the employees, right? So if you can just tell us two, three.
Yeah. So I think people overlook the ability to take risk.
Mm,
Everybody wants to play safe, including
mm,
myself,
mm,
right? I mean, being an entrepreneur, and I really admire that in you, Sheeja, right? Being an entrepreneur. I have had
mm,
a deep dream to be an entrepreneur for years and years.
mm,
The ability to take risk, right? The ability that people who want to get promoted is owning up to your mistakes. And that I would say is a quality of coming across as vulnerable.
mm,
People always think that they have to come across as strong, be wearing, be brave,
Be the
courageous.
hero.
No, yeah, be the
Yeah.
hero. No, not necessary. You can be vulnerable, and you be vulnerable by showing the human bit of it, that
Yeah.
I can make mistakes as well.
Mm.
Own up to those mistakes. People really think that. And number third is, it's a team game.
Beautiful.
I'm telling you, in India, I've seen this heroism. Everybody wants to wear the cape and say, I did everything. There
Mm.
is there's a quote, I don't know by whom, but they say success has many fathers, but
Mm.
failure is none. Right? So everybody wants
Mm.
to own up the success and say, I own it. It's a team game, right? So you got to make sure you don't, when I'm talking about shouldering the responsibilities, you don't shoulder everything and take everything on yourself. You got to be able to distribute that load and allow others to come up as well and live up to that potential as well.
Brilliant.
So if you
Brilliant.
said three, these were the three.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. This has been like a wonderful conversation. I can go on, I think, and all of us can go on, but we'll close the conversation right now. I've written down some certain points on the summary of this, so I'm just going to quickly recap that for the next 1 minute. So one of the things that you said was have multiple conversations about the next level. What game are you
Yes.
playing? What are you vying for? Have multiple conversations with those people at the next level so that you get inputs about what are those leaders expecting out of you. Then own up to your mistakes, very importantly, right? What are people next level, what are they looking at, right? High amount of accountability, high amount of ownership, people who are coming here to solve problems, not with problems, who are coming with solutions rather, right? Then, yeah, you said be ready with an elevator pitch. Very, very important, right? Be ready with what? Start strategizing your promotion today if it's going to happen few months later, right? Be visible. You put in visibility as an important point, while capability is an understood thing that is important, but visibility is an art, and get better at it as much as you can, right? Take feedback about yourself, doesn't matter what level, who it is, just keep taking the feedbacks and keep working on yourself. One of the things that I really love about what you said was that you took feedbacks yourself and kept working, and the main thing that I loved is you went back to them for the follow up key. Am I doing it right? Which is what shows that you're really interested in making the change in yourself, and that's a very brilliant way of even becoming visible, I think, authentically visible, right? Take risks. These are the last three things. Again, hard hitting, right? Take risks, own up to your mistakes, be vulnerable, say, help me, I screwed up. I did something wrong, right? And people will respect you more and be there for you. And it's a team game. Don't think you're all alone playing this game. Wow. Oh, so many gems in this 1 hour. That was brilliant, Nimit. Thank you so much. I'm just so delighted that we could have this conversation.